That Saturday morning, I woke up next to the woman I thought I was going to marry. Harper was still asleep, her hair spread across the pillow like spilled honey. I watched her breathe, thinking about the ring I had picked out 2 months ago. Life felt complete. Then her phone buzzed on the nightstand. The screen lit up in the dim room, and I saw a name I did not recognize. Derek. The preview read, "She still loves me, and you know it." My heart stopped. The world went silent. Before I tell you what happened next, let me ask you something. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city in the comments. And if you have ever been blindsided by someone you trusted, type, "Been there" below. Hit that like button if you believe you deserve honesty and love, and subscribe so you do not miss what happens next. Now let me take you back to how Harper and I met, because you need to understand just how perfect everything seemed before it all fell apart. 8 months before that terrible Saturday morning, I walked into a small coffee shop on South Congress Avenue in Austin. I had a project deadline breathing down my neck, and I desperately needed caffeine and a quiet corner. The place was packed, not a single empty table in sight. I was about to leave when a voice stopped me. "You can share my table if you want." I do not bite. I turned around and saw her for the first time. She was wearing a pale yellow sundress with tiny flowers, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She had a lavender latte in front of her and a paperback novel in her hands. Something about her smile made me forget about my deadline entirely. "Are you sure I do not want to interrupt your reading?" I said. "Please. I have been reading the same page for 20 minutes. I could use the distraction." I sat down, opened my laptop, and pretended to work, but I could not focus. There was something magnetic about her presence, something warm and inviting. She smelled like jasmine, soft and subtle. Every few minutes I caught myself glancing at her over my screen. Then she dropped her bookmark, and it landed near my foot. I picked it up and handed it back to her, and somehow that small moment turned into a 2-hour conversation. We talked about the book she was reading, about Austin, about our jobs, about everything and nothing. When the coffee shop started closing, I finally gathered the courage to ask for her number. She smiled and said, "I thought you would never ask." I walked out of that coffee shop feeling like I was floating. For the first time in years, I felt butterflies in my stomach. I knew she was special. I just did not know how much she would eventually cost me. The months that followed were like something out of a dream. Harper and I explored Austin together like tourists in our own city. We walked along Lady Bird Lake at sunset, watching the sky turn orange and pink. We ate tacos from my favorite food truck on Rainy Street, standing on the sidewalk with hot sauce dripping down our fingers. We spent Friday nights on 6th Street listening to live music until our ears rang and our feet ached. She cooked me dinner at her apartment for the first time, about 6 weeks in. Pasta with homemade tomato sauce, garlic bread, a cheap bottle of red wine. It was not fancy, but it felt like the most romantic meal I had ever had. She left sticky notes on my bathroom mirror with little messages. "You make me smile. Cannot wait to see you tonight. You are my favorite person." I bought her a silver bracelet for our 3-month anniversary and had the date we met engraved on the inside. She cried when she opened it, the good kind of tears. We had a song, an acoustic cover we heard at the coffee shop where we first met. Every time it came on the radio, we would look at each other and smile like we shared a secret. By the 4th month, Harper started leaving things at my place. A toothbrush, some clothes, a few books. By the 6th month, she moved in completely. We adopted a cat together, a gray tabby with green eyes that she named Biscuit. We talked about the future like it was already written. A house with a backyard. Maybe a dog. Maybe kids someday. I started looking at engagement rings. I found one at a local jeweler downtown, a simple diamond on a thin gold band. Nothing flashy but elegant. Just like her. I was planning to propose in 2 months on the anniversary of the day we met. I had the whole thing planned out. I was going to take her back to that coffee shop, sit at the same table, and ask her to spend the rest of her life with me. I had no idea that everything was about to collapse. The first sign came about 3 weeks before I saw that text message from Derek. We were having dinner at home, nothing special, just leftover Chinese food and a random show on television. Harper's phone rang, and when she looked at the screen, something changed in her face. It was quick, maybe half a second, but I saw it. A flash of tension, like a shadow passing over her features. "I need to take this," she said, already standing up. She walked out to the balcony and closed the glass door behind her. I tried not to watch, but I could not help it. She paced back and forth, her free hand, rubbing her forehead like she had a headache. Sometimes she whispered. Sometimes her voice got sharp and frustrated. The call lasted about 15 minutes. When she came back inside, I asked who it was. "Just work stuff," she said. "Nothing important." I believed her. Why would I not? She had never given me a reason to doubt her. But something small and uncomfortable settled in my chest that night, something I could not name. After that phone call, I started noticing things I had overlooked before. Harper began placing her phone face down on every surface. She turned off her message notifications. She started taking her phone into the bathroom with her, something she had never done before. Small changes easy to dismiss individually, but together they formed a pattern that made my stomach tight. One evening I asked her about her past relationships. We had talked about it briefly before, but I wanted to know more. She told me about Derek. They had dated for 2 years, broke up about a year before she met me. He was intense, she said, too possessive. He wanted to control everything. What I wore, where I went, who I talked to. I had to end it for my own sanity. "Do you still talk to him?" I asked. She paused. Just for a second, but it was a second too long. "Sometimes," she admitted. "We have mutual friends. It is complicated." That word, complicated. It stuck in my mind like a splinter. But I pushed it aside. I trusted her. I loved her. And she said she loved me. "As long as you are happy with me now," I said, "that is all that matters." She kissed me and smiled. "I am. I promise." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the seed of doubt had been planted, and it was only a matter of time before it started to grow. After I saw that preview of Derek's message on Harper's phone, I lay in bed for what felt like hours, staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully beside me. My mind was racing. She still loves me, and you know it. What did that mean? Was Derek delusional? Was he just trying to cause trouble? Or did he know something I did not? I slipped out of bed quietly and went to the kitchen. The morning sun was just starting to come through the windows, casting long shadows across the floor. I made coffee and stood there alone, watching the light change, feeling like I was standing at a crossroads. I decided not to confront Harper immediately. I did not want to accuse her of something based on a single text message from a guy who might just be obsessed and delusional. But I also could not ignore it. I started paying closer attention to everything. The following Monday, Harper said she had to work late. "Big presentation coming up," she explained. "I probably will not be home until 9 or 10. I told her I understood. I wished her luck. But that evening, around 8:30, I was scrolling through Instagram when I saw a story posted by one of Harper's friends. It was a boomerang video from a bar downtown, and in the background, I could clearly see Harper sitting at a table. She was not at the office. She was not preparing any presentation. And there was someone sitting next to her, a man whose face I could not quite make out. My hands went cold. I wanted to call her right then, but I forced myself to wait. When she came home that night, she kissed me on the cheek and said the presentation prep went well. "Where did you end up working?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. "Just stayed at the office," she said without hesitation. "Ordered some food. You know how it is." She lied to my face without blinking. That was the moment something broke inside me. The next day I called my friend Marcus and asked him to meet me for a drink. Marcus and I had been friends since college. He was the kind of guy who always told you the truth, even when you did not want to hear it. I needed that right now. We met at a quiet bar in East Austin, a place with dim lighting and booths in the back, where you could talk without being overheard. I told him everything. The text message from Derek, Harper's strange behavior, the lie about working late. Marcus listened without interrupting. When I finished, he took a long sip of his beer and shook his head. "Look, man," he said, "I am not saying she is cheating, but that text was not from some random dude. That was a statement. If her ex is confident enough to message you directly and say she still loves him, there is a reason for that confidence. Maybe he is just crazy," I said, hoping Marcus would agree. "Maybe," Marcus replied, "or maybe she has been giving him reasons to believe it. Either way, you deserve to know the truth. What do I do? Do not accuse her yet. Just pay attention. The truth always reveals itself eventually." He paused. "And, brother, prepare yourself. Sometimes the answer is not what we want to hear." I knew he was right. I just wished he was not. Over the next few days the evidence kept piling up. On Wednesday evening Harper was taking a shower while I was in the bedroom. Her phone was on the nightstand and it buzzed with a new message. I was not trying to snoop, but the screen lit up right in front of me. It was from Derek. "I miss the way you laugh. He does not make you laugh like I did." My chest tightened, like someone had wrapped a belt around it. I did not touch her phone. I just sat there, staring at those words, feeling something inside me crack. 2 days later, on Friday, I came home early from work. I wanted to surprise Harper with flowers and dinner reservations at her favorite restaurant. When I walked through the door, I heard her voice coming from the bedroom. She was on the phone and she did not know I was there. I stood frozen in the hallway, listening. I know, she was saying. "It is just hard right now. He is a good guy, but what?" My heart was pounding so loud I was sure she would hear it. I did not catch the rest of the sentence. She said goodbye and hung up. I quietly backed out of the apartment and waited a few minutes before coming in again, making noise this time, so she would know I was home. She came out of the bedroom smiling like nothing was wrong. "Hey babe, you are home early." I smiled back, but inside I felt hollow. That weekend Harper told me she was going to brunch with some girlfriends at a place called Magnolia Cafe. I did not plan to check up on her. I really did not. But I happened to drive past that restaurant on my way to the hardware store, and I noticed she was not there. Her car was not in the parking lot. None of her friends were visible through the windows. I called her. "Hey, how is brunch?" I asked. "Great," she said. "We actually changed plans last minute and went somewhere else." Her voice was perfectly casual, perfectly normal, and that was somehow worse than if she had sounded nervous. I spent the rest of that weekend in a fog,